In this video, Vicki and I are going to take a look at the blind side. So you'll get the psychologist's take and Vicki's take on the blind side. In this first clip, the Tuohys are driving home and they see Mike walking along the side of the road, and this is the first time that they start to connect with his actual condition. So let's check in on this clip.
Stop the car. Big Mike. Hey, my name's Leanne Tuohy. My kids go to Wingate. You said you were going to the gym? School gym's closed. Why were you going to the gym? Big Mike, why were you going to the gym?
Okay, so this is her personality, right?
Right.
She's going to push, she's going to drive into what's really going on because she can tell something's out of place.
Right. And I think that's something that a lot of the times you do follow your intuition,
Right.
follow it through. Now, everybody's personality is different. I love that she's following it within her own personality.
Another thing I love about this clip, as a parent or a foster parent or an adoptive parent, you've got a gut feel that maybe something's off. It's okay to trust that and to explore further, and that's exactly what she's doing. Let's see how this plays out.
Because it's warm.
Do you have any place to stay tonight? Don't you dare lie to me.
You had a response to that.
I just love that she follows her intuition. We talked about that before, but
Yeah.
I think it's okay to get that intuition and then just follow it on the next step. A lot of the times we only take it to the first step where people are comfortable with just
Right.
kind of pushing you away. And so often we as parents, I think we just kind of stop the first resistance. And
Right.
I think sometimes we have to be willing to go past that.
Now, her personality is such that she's going to
She's
push
never
it.
going to stop.
It's okay for you to push it a little. That first sign of resistance, go ahead and break through that barrier, because a lot of the great stuff happens after that.
Seen that look many times. She's about to get her way.
Come on.
Okay, this is one of my favorite parts of the movie because the father, Sean Tuohy, played by Tim McGraw, I've seen that look many times. She's about to get what she wants. That's just fun for me.
Right.
In a relationship, in a marriage, where you can get to the level where you know someone well enough to see what's coming.
Well, and I think accepting it. I mean, does he love that she gets her way all the time? I'm not really sure. But knowing that it's not going to change necessarily,
Right.
he accepts it and he works with it. In this clip, Leanne has brought Mike into their home and he's been sleeping downstairs, and they realize that he's going to stick around for a while. So she's decided to set up a bedroom for him. She loves this kind of thing. She's an interior designer, and so she's going to be showing him around his new room.
Okay, here we go.
We're here. You have a desk, chest of drawers. You have a nightstand, a light, an alarm. Oh, and Sean says all the pro athletes use futons if they can't find a bed big enough, so I got you one of those. Of course, the frame was heinous. It's not about to let that in my house, but I got you something nicer.
It's mine?
Yes, sir.
He's not experienced this before. She's just going around like it's just, it's
Right.
what she does. I love the reference also to the futon and how, well, you're a big guy, and so we're going to get this. And there's a lot of kind of underlying themes here about understanding who he is, but she was missing something
Right.
up to this point.
She's you'll watch as you go into the next clip portion of the clip. Really watch for, kind of think of what has her assumption been and what does she allow for the actual change to come over her when she understands
Yeah.
that her assumption is wrong.
This is a powerful part of the movie. Let's let it play out.
What?
Never had one before.
What, a room to yourself?
A bed.
Wow.
Well, you have one now.
There, you know, her assumption going into it, maybe you've never had one, you've never had a room to yourself, you've never had a nicely decorated room. Remember, she's all about making things look nice. She's been doing this for people, for money, for a long time, right?
And as you remember, the whole premise of the show is that Mike is in a position where he and his family don't have the resources to really properly take care of him. And yet the Tuohys are coming in from a position of privilege and wealth and status in the community. And so there's a marked difference there. And they've brought him into their home now. And so it's interesting to see the two worlds collide. A little thought about this, because if you're getting into foster parenting or an adoption situation, you're not starting from the same place.
Right.
There's a lot of differences in the culture and the background, and that's important to understand. And like Leanne in this particular clip, you're going to have times when, wow,
yeah, the lights
go on and something is illuminated that you hadn't experienced.
You know, and another thought about that too is when we have students, you know, in the school, kids come to school, and there's a culture at school, just like there's a culture in this Tuohy home,
Right.
and there's a culture from which they've come, and he has a very different culture, and trying to find a way to help your person in your life, your student, your child, your foster child, whatever, bridge those two cultures, because they still need to know how to live in both cultures.
Right.
If they're going to keep being in both cultures.
Like you were saying, Vicki, the bridging the cultures becomes important. So in this clip, Sean is helping Mike to learn something in a whole different culture from what he's used to, but he's using his own experience to tie it in.
Right.
And I think he does a nice job. Let's look at how this happens.
All in the Valley of Death rode the 600. They named LSU Stadium Death Valley because of this story. Alfred, Lord Tennyson, was writing about LSU Ole Miss.
You kidding?
No, it's a great story.
Notice that he immediately tied it into something that Mike is familiar with. Trying to learn about Tennyson. Well,
Right.
that's-
Yeah, that just was so out of his. Yeah.
But when he tied it in, so he said it's like LSU and Ole Miss. Well, in the South, football
Is everything.
is a religion. Okay, it's everything. And so they're familiar with that culture, but Mike's also a football player. So he pulls it in. And did you see how the younger son popped up over the couch? Because as soon as dad took it to a place that was relatable to these boys, and you'll notice football's playing over on the TV, right?
Right.
And so he pops up over the couch. He's paying attention now. He's like,
Wait, what?
Wait.
Is this going to be a story?
what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
Poem.
Forward the light brigade. It's like the offense. Charge for the guns, he said. It's the end zone. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600. Forward the light brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered.
Someone made a mistake?
Yeah, their leader. Their coach.
You know, one of the things I love about this is when we present things to our kids in a way that leaves a little bit open that they can then do some of the discovering on their own. I know this is a homework assignment, but so often we want to give everything to our kid. We want to give him the whole lesson, and he is pausing and setting it up so the son goes, "Oh, are they talking about someone made a mistake?" You know, it's
Right.
so much more if we can help self-discovery.
Right. And this opens up Mike's mind. The whole scene is set up by the tutor getting frustrated that she can't quite get it through his head. And this is when Sean, the dad, steps up and starts doing what we're witnessing here. There's one more little piece to this. Let's finish it out.
But why would they go ahead if they knew he messed up?
Theirs not to make reply. Theirs not to reason why. Theirs but to do and die. Into the Valley of Death rode the 600.
The thing I love about this is the look on both boys' face.
They're truly internalizing and thinking about it.
They are. You can see that thoughtfulness and the way his response to these boys intrigued them about the story, but not just the story, how it applies to other things. Why would they do this if it was wrong, right?
Right.
And so it's a teaching moment, and I love that we have, as parents, we have teaching moments that come up with almost anything that can happen.
I think that's one reason that we talk so often on the channel about principles, because you can pull a principle in and teach the principle in many, 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 many circumstances.
Right.
And so look for those circumstances within your daily life. Here, it's through a homework assignment. But he's having the opportunity to talk to him about courage and honor
Right.
within his homework assignment. So watch for those opportunities to teach about the principles.
Now, it's not just the kids who learn.
In this clip, Leanne has gone to lunch. It's kind of a standing, recurring lunch that she has with many of her friends from kind of her high society.
Yeah.
And they're having lunch, and they're kind of talking about kind of the changes that have gone on in her life. You know, having this
Right.
black son come into their home and everything that entails. And they're
Right.
kind of implying, you know, this is kind of
There's some judgment going on,
Yeah.
but there's also some, oh, aren't you sweet to have done
Yeah.
this?
So she's picking it up. She's talking, kind of answering their questions about what are people thinking.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't need y'all to approve my choices, all right? But I do ask that you respect them. You have no idea what this boy's been through, and if this is going to become some running diatribe, I can find an overpriced salad a lot closer to home.
Leanne, I'm so sorry. We didn't intend to.
No, we didn't, really.
I think what you're doing is so great. To open up your home to him, and honey, you're changing that boy's life.
No. He's changing my...
He's changing mine.
You said that there's an opportunity for so much learning to happen, both on the child's part as well as the parent. You know, you don't even have to be a parent very long before you realize that there are just a plethora of lessons to be learned from those that we get to serve as a parent. And that's what she's finding out here.
Yeah, who's teaching who? And it goes both ways. This is, I think, one of the sweet compensations in life, that as we get involved in serving our children,
Right.
whether they're ours or didn't start as ours, it really enriches our own life. We have a lot to learn from these kids. There can be a lot of challenges with parenting or foster parenting or adoption, but you don't have to do this alone. We've got your back. We've created a very positive community of conscious parents like you. Come on over to drpauljenkins.com and we've got you.
I saw her standing in the street alone. Her head was down, face locked onto the phone. And I wished